My Old Ass sells itself on the title alone, but the film turned out to be much more than a goofy name referencing a small joke in the opening few scenes of the film. The strength of a film like My Old Ass is in becoming so invested in the narrative and the characters that you don't realize how much it's moving you with its emotional resonance. It's a familiar concept made all the better by the clever screenplay from writer-director Megan Park and some mesmerizing chemistry from its performers. Elliot, played by Maisie Stella, is a recent high school grad planning on leaving town in the coming weeks to attend college. She's out celebrating her birthday with friends on a camping trip when they decide to take mushrooms. As the night goes on, Elliot experiences an unusual meeting with her older self, a 39-year-old Elliot, played by Aubrey Plaza, who attempts to give her necessary life advice. As they embrace the experience, younger Elliot comes to terms with the parts of her life she's been trying to leave behind and rethinks what she really wants with her time on this earth. As I mentioned earlier, My Old Ass takes a fairly familiar premise of being able to converse with one's older or younger self and what we as humans would be able to learn from ourselves. And it doesn't waste any time in putting it to good use. A notable strength of Park's screenplay. This is a lean and effective script that establishes our concept with no explanation and no need to waste time in the unnecessary details. Park establishes that Elliot shroomed out, met her older self, and that's just what happens. Move on. I think we as filmgoers tend to get focused on establishing a movie's rules when it doesn't always really matter. And My Old Ass is so strong with its characters that I ultimately didn't need to know any more than that. Relative newcomer Maisie Stella is at her best when sharing scenes with the other performers, specifically Aubrey Plaza and Percy Hines White, who plays Chad, a young man she's been told by her older self to avoid. Now that may seem like an odd distinction to make, but I want to point out her terrific chemistry that she seems to have with the entire cast. When sharing an on-screen dialogue with her co-stars, Stella is absolutely magnetic in a way that I didn't feel she was when she was speaking on the phone to someone or by herself. It's a strength I hope she continues to develop in her career. She holds her own with more established actors and elevates Park's material even further. Aubrey Plaza is also revelatory as the older Elliot, and I wish we got more time with her because the film is at its most lively when she's on screen. I think we put Aubrey Plaza into a box as a comedic actress with only one note, and that's not really fair to her. She showcases her incredible range in My Old Ass, shifting from comedic to dramatic without skipping a beat, because she's given the room to stretch her chops. Going back to the chemistry we discussed, she works so well with Stella as the younger Elliot that I believed these were two different versions of the same person, much like the viewing of The Substance earlier this month. It didn't matter that I don't think they look alike, and it didn't matter that I wasn't entirely sure for most of the film if it was all in Elliot's head or actually happening. Park's film wins with its two central relationships, the first being between the two Elliots, and the one that's between Elliot and Chad, a sweet and gentle performance from White. The only time that the pacing feels a little off is when Plaza's character goes missing for a large portion of the second act. It feels like the narrative is missing something during this time, but it's thankfully rectified during the film's final scenes. Still, I think the film would have benefited from more Plaza. My Old Ass is a familiar tale told by a unique voice with pitch-perfect comedy and drama in a solid mix. The Justin Bieber sequence alone had me giggling perhaps a little too much, but these are likable characters that I felt investment in and almost didn't realize it. I felt the emotional gut punch of the movie's finale way more than I had anticipated. My Old Ass is more than just a name, it's a beautiful contemplation on time, and it's well worth yours. I give the film a 4 out of 5. You can find a written version of this review over at goatfilmreviews.com, as well as a number of current, new, and older film reviews on that website. While here, though, you can like and subscribe, which are two things that will help to support this channel immensely, and you'll never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also comment down below your thoughts on My Old Ass. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I'd love to have the conversation. You can also find Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. And you can find my show, Kyle and Nick on Film, that I co-host with Nick Palatichuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every single week. There's also a link in the video description for this video, which will bring you to the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance, which I'm a member. You can find film critics' reviews on My Old Ass, as well as more of my stuff, at that link down below. Thank you so much for joining me for this video review of My Old Ass, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.